My
Right.
X account is under review right now, which to me, I have to assume it's the Royal Academy of British Pancakes coming out of the shadows. If they're watching right now, I need them to know I will not be intimidated.
You're going up against Big Pancake. And I don't know if that's a smart move for it. I mean, I support you. I want to be there for you. But the Royal Academy, they're not messing around, right?
And I will continue to hold and never take profit.
Now I want to be in Degen Disneyland.
Your robot voice is a better robot than your human voice is a human. This chicken is an aggressive chicken that's looking to tussle.
Violently sick all over the kitchen floor. Episode 3. And Taco, I'm learning that the internet really loves you in a way that I'm trying hard not to be sad about, but the internet loves you so much that your clips perform better across all platforms. And I've now had to specifically front load my clips with a picture of you because they do better. And I'm not talking like 20% better, 30% better. I'm talking 10x better on a regular basis.
What do you think it is about me people like? Because I feel pretty normal.
You are pretty normal. I think that I honestly have no idea. Like, and you're right. This is a sort of a specialist area for me. And it would make sense if you spoke in a sort of way that was, quicker, or you said more interesting words. Because in the first 0.5 seconds of a clip, you have some time to grab someone's attention. And I don't know. Maybe maybe you've just got a friendly face and people just like it.
Maybe. I like that you said that if I said things that were more interesting, because I'm not. And my voice, I think, is very middle of the road. And I don't even think I have people in my life who are watching extra to boost my numbers. Mrs. Taco has not seen either of our 2 first episodes. We were talking about podcasts last night, and she was talking about a new podcast that she found that weren't very professional because one of the hosts was using a Zoom background and the other host had like personal stuff and bobbleheads behind them. It's like, oh, sweetie, like that's what we're doing. Yeah, so that felt really good.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, I feel like there are enough professional podcasts. Like, everybody's a podcaster nowadays. And let's be honest, another couple of middle-aged white guys on a podcast about crypto. Yeah. There's actually a song that went viral called Another White Boy with a Podcast. And very fitting for us. But, we're just doing this for our friends, aren't we? This is our little crypto Web3 bit of the world. We're just...
and this is the exact time I would want to start a podcast.
Oh, yeah. And the crypto market is not at a peak at all. There aren't new people in this market. And about a subset of the crypto space, which is, for all intents and purposes, been dead for 6 months at least. Although, sparks of life, your call from last week's pod did very well, didn't it? The Good Vibes Club.
I have been loving the Good Vibes Club. That was an excellent call on my part. It might be the first good call I ever made. This is the rebirth of NFTs. NFTs are back. I'm not saying because of me necessarily, but I don't know. It could be.
They've gone great guns, and actually you called it and then you bought one and I went, that is nice art. And I went and looked at the NFTs and they were $250, $300. And I was like, that's very reasonable. I'll have one of those. So I went to my current active MetaMask, and I didn't have $300 readily available. And so I thought, should I transfer this from Coinbase, from Binance, or should I sell some of these other NFTs that, like, there are some utility NFTs, some club NFTs that I'm not really using. And I thought, I'll
Mm-hmm.
sell those. So I put a couple of those on the market. And by the time they had sold, I went back to the Good Vibes Club and they were $1,200. And I was
Yeah,
like,
they got up to 0.66 ETH floor. Right now, they're right around half an ETH, which is a lot for a brand new project. And it feels super DJ. Someone in our community messaged me and said, I'm going to read it so I don't get it wrong. Said, fun story. I got too excited for the Good Vibes drop and accidentally bought 2 bad ones from a bad collection. So had to grab one this morning on OpenSea. And this is a person who's been in the game for a very, very long time. But that's what degenning is. You're like, oh, this is exciting. And quickly getting over to the thing and try to buy some and then realizing, oh, wait, those first 2 were scammers. But still going in and getting one is great. I'm not going to say how many I bought right now, just in case Mrs. Taco decides she wants to start watching this podcast. But I did what you were going to do. I exited some other projects to get in more heavily on the Good Vibes because it feels right. It feels vibey.
They are good vibes. And the art is great. I looked at the floor ones and I was like, oh, those are cool. And then I started seeing people post some of the rare ones. And I was like, oh, yeah, these are fun.
It's from the guys from Toast. And if people don't know them, it's toast.tv. And they do visual animation-y stuff. They've partnered with the biggest of brands, and they took this super seriously. You can go on their website and zoom in on these NFTs, and the detail is beyond spectacular. And so the art is absolutely top notch.
I saw there's a gold one, and you can see fingerprints as if somebody's held the thing. I thought that was wonderful, wonderful touch. Yeah, I hope there is another NFT bull run because that was fun, right? It was really fun. And yeah, I would really like to see a fresh load of the point of NFTs really makes sense to me, right? The club aspect, the much more than meme coins. And meme coins went super crazy. But I do like that there's that kind of higher barrier to entry. There's good art to be found. And actually, what I'll probably end up doing with Good Vibes Club is doing what I've done with just about everything else. I'll wait until the next bear market, and then I'll go back and I'll buy all the ones that I liked. I did that with Deadfellas, right? I watched them pump. They came back down with the rest of the market, and I've hoovered up all of the cool ones that I wanted and a load more. So,
yeah. I don't know. And you're going to say to me, hey, Taco, did you sell any at top of market? And I'm going to say, I'm holding every single one that I bought, and I will continue to hold and never take profit.
Yeah, this is going to go in a thumb drive that somebody will have to work out after I pass who they belong to. Just a thumb drive full of worthless JPEGs. That is somebody else's problem, right?
But this one is different. This one's going to the moon, and I'm going to sell a few of mine to pay off the house. That's where this one's headed.
I like it. I like it. I want to shame my dog. I'd like to
go on.
He's actually asleep down here currently.
My dog is asleep down here.
Oh, so normally, very good dog, right? I have to say, above average, very sweet boy. He's a Labrador, so he is on the sweeter end of the dog spectrum. And we regularly leave him alone, right? He can spend 2-3 hours on his own. He has free roam of the house downstairs. And he's never done anything crazy, never ripped anything up, never destroyed anything. He's had a stuffed toy destroyed every once in a while, but even that, not crazy, right? So we come home the other day and he's not on his bed. And so that normally means he's been in the kitchen, and he's a Labrador, right? So he goes around sniffing around to see if he can eat anything off of the surfaces. He's not on his bed. So I'm like, okay, walk into the kitchen. He's lying there on the floor and he's going, and so I'm panicking, right? I'm like, oh my God, what's happened? What have you eaten? Like, what's the thing? And I go and I rush down and I'm laying beside him and he's sort of like looking up at me, but like, clearly in pain. And I'm checking him over and there's nothing, like there's no marks or scratches or there's no blood or anything, he hasn't got anything in his paws. I'm like, what is going on? And I turn and I see his food bag. A food bag that he's never gotten into. mind you, right? We leave it out. He's never explored it. He doesn't really know what it is, I don't think. He knows that it's where his food comes from, but he hasn't ever sussed out that he could knock it over. But it is knocked over. And it was a new bag 3 days ago, right? It's half gone. So he's eaten 2 weeks worth of food. And so I look back and I see now that his stomach is bulging. And he's there like, at me. And I'm like, oh, buddy, what have you done? And I'm starting to explain to my wife what's happened when suddenly he is violently sick all over the kitchen floor. And so both of us are stood there like shocked. The dog's looking at me. I'm like, oh my God, what are we going to do? This is so much to clear up. Like, this is crazy. So he starts chowing down again. And so now I'm like, he needs to be out of the house, right? He needs to be in the garden so that I can just clear all this up. So I then I get behind him and I push him towards the door. We've got laminate flooring. So he's scratching. He's trying to get back to his food. I ended up like, my wife runs around, opens the door for me. So at least I can push him out of the door and close it to clear it up. But 2 weeks worth of food he ate, the poor boy. So shame on him. That's going to be a clip and it's going to live forever on the internet and people will know and he'll have to live with that.
And it's what your dog deserves.
Yeah. Ritual shaming in front of the 40 or so people that watch this podcast.
But that's a great sample size.
I think so. And actually, I love data, right? I love looking at the things that are popping off. And also, like, TikTok categorizes our videos for stuff. And so because of the name 40 Year Old Degens, we get categorized for 60-year-old blah, 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 80-year-old blah, 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 blah. And so we actually have quite a big demographic of like 65 plus people on TikTok who are watching our videos.
There are 60-year-olds on TikTok?
I was as surprised as you, but they like you, Taco. They don't like me. It's not my clips that are going viral.
Yeah, you know what? I feel like I go over well with the 60-something set.
We've worked it out.
Oh. Maybe. Have you heard of the Villages in Florida?
No. The Villages.
There's a place in Florida called the Villages, which is a retirement community, but it's massive, massive, and it's all trailers, but nice trailers. And people go, they all retire there. And I think it's absolutely amazing. They have everything you need, grocery stores, all the amenities. Everyone has little golf carts that they get to go around the Villages. And you can get in when you're 55. And that's been my plan for a while. Move down there at 55, hang out with I don't want to say the olds, but yeah, the olds. We're close enough now where it's okay to say that. And just chill out, get a fancy golf cart and just relax. And so I think if you dug into the research, I think I do much better with the 60 and 70 than I probably do with the 20, 30. Yeah, that's great.
We're certainly more olds than youngs. You said something interesting in there. I want to deep dive on it. You said nice trailer. Now that sounds like an oxymoron to me, but just give me an idea of what a nice trailer is.
I think you probably have been fed anti-American propaganda where you, in your head, you imagine an American trailer as being very rundown, very white trash. And those do exist here. Yeah. But think in your head, whatever the next level up is, a double wide, so a wide. They're not even really trailers. They're mobile homes. We call them trailers. And the double wide is basically it's the width of two. So they're like small houses, but they're not really houses, but they're houses enough.
Well, look, there are like caravan sites in the UK. That's what I would call those. But I think residential trailer parks are not a regular thing in the UK. Like they're quite hard to find. But I have seen those on TV, right? I watched My Name is Earl. They lived in a trailer.
Yes, they did.
What was the film with Nick Cage where he lives in a trailer? Raising something,
Oh.
Raising Arizona, and obviously the OC. The OC actually was a fundamental time in my life that hit me right as I was a teenager, and so like to juxtapose the wonderful McMansions that the rich people live in, there's like always this scene where they go to a real beaten up trailer park. So that you're right. That is. I mean, I wouldn't say it's anti-American. I feel like that is core American produced stuff.
Yeah. So My Name is Earl is perfect. I think that is what people think of, and that 100% exists here. But what's happening in the Village is it's very, very nice. It isn't like that at all.
I see.
It's worth it.
So that's where you're headed, is it?
Yeah. Yep, that's my plan. Because I want all the stuff just around me. And I love the idea of having a customized golf cart that I can just go to the different places. Oh, I'm headed to the movies and I take my golf cart, or you go to karaoke.
What's stopping you from getting a golf cart now? Is it just not the roads around you are not suitable for that kind of vehicle?
Yeah, you can't legally drive a golf cart around on the streets here. But down there you can, because they're not really streets. Everything's private. And so there aren't the same traffic rules.
It's like a retirement Disneyland.
That's exactly right.
So maybe there needs to be a place where retired degens can go and enjoy the fruits of their labor. And, not multimillionaires, but like, I took some wins, I took some losses. Now I want to be in degen Disneyland.
That would require me to at some point start taking profit.
Yeah, well,
maybe they have subsidized housing for people like me who are degens, but
maybe you can borrow against the value of your portfolio.
Maybe I could.
Solves the problem of who to give those NFTs to in your will. That'll be the business, right? We just collect NFTs in return for old person care, elderly care.
Yeah, I prefer that to what would happen right now, which is just my wife would ignore that they even exist and they would just sit in a wallet forever. Right. She knows they're in there. We've talked about it and liquidate it, but she won't. It'll just sit there. Not that, I'm not going to die.
But you're sensible to have a plan. And that brings us to our sponsor, Easy Wills. Following on from our silliness last time. Yeah, some kind of will thing. That would be a good sponsor for us.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, do you know what? The internet, I was so surprised at how much the internet was set ablaze by our pancake discussion. I'm certainly excited to see what more we have to add on the subject.
Well, okay, listen, we've been discussing it a lot, and I think we've gotten some undue attention. My X account is under review right now, which to me, I have to assume it's the Royal Academy of British Pancakes coming out of the shadows a bit to let me know that they know what's going on. And if they're watching right now, I need them to know I will not be intimidated. I haven't spoken poorly of British pancakes. I just don't understand it yet. I don't know if you guys have the International House of Pancakes in the UK. It's a chain restaurant that serves pancakes.
We absolutely do not. I want to take what you just said very seriously because I think we're a partnership in this podcast and you're going up against Big Pancake. And I don't know if that's a smart move for it. I mean, I support you. I want to be there for you. But the Royal Academy, they're not messing around, right?
So at the International House of Pancakes, which everyone here calls IHOP, I double checked their menu. And they do have on the menu some Mexican tres leches pancakes.
Lovely.
And they always have a variety of French crepes. And they have Belgian waffles, which isn't a pancake, but it is international. And there's no mention of British pancakes. And if they aren't served in this International House of Pancakes.
To recognize their legitimacy.
In a way.
I'm starting to see this evolve now. I'm starting to see that perhaps it's not the Royal Academy that you're taking umbrance with. It's me personally, that I am putting forward as an international pancake, the British pancake.
But isn't it just a crepe that you make in a pan instead of on a crepe wheel?
Kudos for knowing what a crepe wheel is. A French crepe is large, it's thin, it is the same thinness all over. And I think actually it's designed to be like barely cooked, right? It's meant to sort of feel very mushy and like almost, it's the rare steak of pancakes.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas a British pancake is probably a very similar batter. I would imagine ours are probably a little bit more hearty because, again, this is the Yorkshire pudding batter that people are using. It's the same measurement. But you want it not American pancake thick, right? That is like a little cake, right? This is somewhere, I would almost say it's exactly halfway between the two, right? Take an American pancake, cut it at least in half. That's a British pancake. But specifically, and maybe I'd love for other people to weigh in on this. But in my house, like part of the joy of a pancake is the crispiness, right? It's fried in a pan. It curls up at the sides. You get this kind of like mottled pancake effect where some bits are like cooked and some bits are still a little bit raw, right? And you've got to wait for it to be not wet on the top before you flip it over, right? And the flip itself is a moment of triumph, right? If you know about Pancake Day, you know that it's a flip without a spatula. That is a pro-level move, and it is celebrated. If you just pancake toss, that is a very well-known thing. Where am I going with this? Anyway, yeah, I think that this is the hill I'm going to die on, Taco. I feel like a petition needs to be sent to the International House of Pancakes for them to recognize the legitimacy of the British pancake as distinct from the French crepe and the American pancake.
Yeah, agreed. And if they decide to put it on the menu, I think that solves everything. I can't wait for all the mailbag questions or comments we get from everyone else who says, "Oh, but what about my Russian pancakes or our Thai pancakes or who knows what other
Russian pancakes? That's just sliced potato." Actually, the Eastern Europeans do this amazing kind of like hash brown thing. They grate potatoes and then mix it with cheese and milk and flour, and they make these kind of like, I mean, it's fried in a thing in the same, and it's probably the same thickness as a British pancake, right? So one could argue that at least in spirit, these are Russian, Eastern European pancakes.
I think there's a whole subset of potato pancakes out there.
I think that it's a little bit elitist that the International House of Pancakes excludes so many different types of pancakes from around the world. So, and also, I'm just going to Google this because I don't know for certain, but I'm pretty sure the International House of Pancakes only exists in America. So again, this is American anti-international propaganda.
I'm hoping they're at least in Canada because that's our loophole for all of our international sports leagues. As long as we have a franchise in Canada, we're great. It's a worldwide league now.
IHOP can be found in Mexico, Canada, and Saudi Arabia.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, that's a pretty eclectic mix, that one. Europeans, alongside many other nations, are wondering why they're missing out on all the fun.
I would love to find a menu for, I'll bet Canada's the same as ours, but I wonder if the menu is different in Mexico and in Saudi Arabia. I wonder if they have a different menu there with different pancakes.
I mean, this is all feeling like a spin-off series. IHOP around the world with Taco and Hutch.
Welcome to Pancake Talk.
I mean, do you think Waffle House is going to be put out by the fact that we're talking so much about IHOP? Is it worth sacrificing the Waffle House?
Listen, I have been so deeply linked to Waffle House for so long, even having this conversation makes me feel a little dirty because they're not, I wouldn't say they're competing because they're so different, waffles and pancakes. But I think there probably are Waffle House people and IHOP people. And so although Waffle House isn't really about the waffles, right? So I feel like we're okay. This is okay.
I mean, I have no idea, right? I've never been. I would have assumed by the name it's about the waffles at least a little bit.
30% about the waffles.
I'd love to see how you came up with that number. But shall we go to the DGen mailbag? Because it's been filling up. I think we've got some really fun questions in there.
We've got some excellent ones. Should we keep with the new tradition and do the announcer voice when we're saying who submitted the DGen mailbag question?
Well, no, I think we should in each case, because the first DGen mailbag question, which I think is a good one, comes from Robot Clinic. But Robot Clinic has gone to quite a length to make his name look like it should be said robotically, right? When I see that, I go, Robot Clinic, right? Because of the way he's used some really weird characters. It looks a bit mad, but also maybe a bit futuristic alien. I don't know.
Your robot voice is exceptional.
Well, you know, we've never met in real life, so I could be an automaton and you not yet be aware.
Your robot voice is a better robot than your human voice is a human.
What? Do I not have a human voice?
No, you do. But that robot voice, my friend, that was something special.
Okay. To his question, though. Question for you both. Fight a chicken-sized lion or a lion-sized chicken. Now, you came back in the comments on this quickly, and you were like, this is easy. You didn't answer, but you said this is easy. So I want to hear your...
Yeah. So for me, at the core of any fight is running away. I can outrun a chicken-sized lion. I cannot outrun a lion-sized chicken.
Okay. I will accept the premise of your point, and I will pose this question to you, because I feel like the innate beings that are lions and chickens are two very different things, right? A lion, I feel, whatever size, is likely to chase. It's likely to want to get to you. But I feel like a chicken is much more a placid, a tranquil, an uninterested animal. And so running away from that one might be physically more difficult, but there also might be a much less likelihood of chase. Are you taking that into account, or
I'm assuming in this scenario, both of these animals are looking for a fight.
Right.
Because you're right, and you're right. You could fight a chicken pretty easy because it's just a chicken, and probably isn't even. It's just going to be confused, even if you punch it in its chicken face. And I feel bad saying this. The aggregators are going to go to town on these comments, Hutch. I would never fight a chicken, first of all. But if I had to, if I'm in the Coliseum and I'm fighting a chicken and I punch it in its chicken face, it's going to be more confused and I think aggressive, unless we establish this chicken is an aggressive chicken that's looking to tussle.
Right. I feel like we're giving the chicken more human intention, more human motivation than chickens would normally, like a chicken looking to tussle, right? We've seen an Aggie chicken, right? But those are rare. These are placid creatures.
Yeah.
I mean, now I'm imagining
the Coliseum. You're going with, this is any size chicken. It doesn't matter. Is that what you're saying?
I think that a lion-sized chicken is terrifying, right? Because chickens are very powerful creatures, scaled up to the size of a lion. I'm assuming in this transformation, we are not accounting for muscle density change, right? It's just a chicken the same strength and viciousness of a chicken, just larger in size. But then, like, if you shrink a lion down to the size of a chicken, but you don't account for muscle density change, then that's stronger than a cat, right? I went to the zoo recently and I saw a serval, and that thing looked mean. I wouldn't want it to get out. I think it would do some damage. Not that much bigger than a chicken. Again, what dimension of chicken are we talking about? Are we talking about lengthways? Because lengthways, that's a small lion, but height, that's bigger than a cat.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Comparing it to a cat, I think might change things for me and also like a cat could definitely catch me. And if a cat can catch me, then the lion is 100% going to catch me. I don't think I could outrun that lion. And you're right. That would be, you've convinced me. I'm changing my answer. I'm going to fight the big chicken.
But this is assuming, because, God forbid we end up in purgatory and they call back to this and they say, right, well, we've designed a brilliant thing for you. You're going to have to fight a lion-sized, a tiger-sized chicken. Are we assuming that we're not accounting for muscular density? That's terrifying. And as soon as it works out that it is the top of the food chain, which it is, that's an apex predator now.
I'm mostly worried about the talons, if we're being honest.
Yeah. They kick.
Yeah. And it would do that move where it like runs and jumps and kind of flies toward you, talons out.
Yeah. And now as big as your face.
Yeah, you know what? I'm back on the small lion.
Good. Well, I think we solved some problems here. Some world problems.
Yeah, did we answer that for you? Robot Clinic.
Robot Clinic. This one isn't a question, but it is from Las Vegas Lance. In order to further the goal of getting a sponsorship from the Waffle House, back onto Waffle Houses, have a short segment on how to have your potatoes at Waffle House. It'll be educational for Hutch. Explain waffles are not made of potatoes, unless you're talking about the classic bird's eye potato waffle.
What is a bird's eye waffle?
You can't. I mean, Bird's Eye is a brand. They make mostly...
We have Bird's Eye, but they're not famous for waffles.
They are famous for... So in the UK, if in the 90s, if your parents were having a lazy day and they weren't cooking, what they would make you is turkey dinosaurs and either potato smiley faces or potato waffles, which are essentially like a formed, like a... I mean, you're finding out about these now, but presumably you're looking at pictures of them, right? So it's just a potato lattice.
Yeah. I'm more familiar with McCann's. Right. I think it's McCann's is the brand that has this. I'm familiar especially with the potato faces.
Yes. I mean, you said that horribly wrong. It's McCain, but we'll let you off because America.
Okay. So when we go, and you probably should start thinking about this now. When we go to the Waffle House, one of their side dishes that you're going to get are their hash browns, it's a shredded potato.
I know what a hash brown is.
What if you call it something different? When I say pancake, you're thinking of a totally different thing.
Oh, yes, it is.
So there's different options for what you can get on your hash browns. I'm going to run through them all for you now.
Okay, thank you.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. Scattered is just plain grilled hash browns. That's just what the default is.
Before we get into this, tell me a little bit more about the hash brown itself. Is this a triangular deep fried?
No. It's loose potato shavings that they cook in a mold, but it is not molded. Then it's just kind of loose on your plate.
Right.
Yeah. See, it is different. It's not preformed. It's loose potato they put on, and then it's kind of fried on either side.
Right. Because in the UK, hash brown is a staple of a full English breakfast.
We also have preformed hash browns But if you go to a restaurant and you order hash browns and you get the preformed one, like what they have at McDonald's, you're disappointed. It's like, oh, they just got the frozen stuff. They're not making proper, real,
Gotcha.
scattered on the grill. Okay. So smothered means it's topped with sauteed onions.
Okay.
Covered is topped with melted American cheese.
And onions or just cheese?
That's just cheese. And so my go-to order when I'm there is I will order it smothered and covered, which is onions and cheese.
Okay.
We've got chunked, which is topped with chunks of grilled hickory smoked ham.
Nice.
Diced.
No.
Peppered is topped with spicy jalapeno peppers.
That's Englishman kryptonite, that is.
Capped is topped with grilled button mushrooms.
Right.
Topped is prepared with Burt's chili, a combination of chili beans, Jimmy Dean sausage, tomato, onions, and more. Country is topped with sausage gravy. And so you can order with whatever combination you want. You can get it peppered and topped or covered and chunked, whatever you want it, or all of them.
Yeah.
And if you get all of them, you say you want your hash browns all the way. And they know to bring you all the toppings on it, which is a monstrosity. So don't order that, except you should do it once in your life just to do it, which I have done the one time.
You would just do it to look at it, though, because that has got to be the most confusing mouthful of food ever.
Yeah, it is a thing of beauty.
This is a really interesting premise. I like it. What I don't like specifically about it is that all of the words are very similar. Topped and covered and smothered and with a hat on and all that kind of stuff. And that makes it very easy to mistakenly get something spicy.
They don't make mistakes. Well, no, they make mistakes all the time. But right.
Yeah, but I'm worried that what I probably want is smothered. That's the cheese, right? And then what was
covered
the
is the cheese.
Covered is the
smothered
cheese.
The onions.
So smothered and covered. That feels like my natural place to exist.
Yeah.
But capped, I might accidentally get that. That's chili, right?
No, capped is the mushrooms.
Because of mushroom cap. Okay, that's clever.
The topped is the chili. I can see where maybe, but they're professionals and they're taking your order and they know not to mess that up. And if you get it and you see that there's peppers in there, they're not supposed to be, you just say, hey, there's peppers in here.
Okay. I would have to preface all of this with, I have an international flight in the morning. And so if I even look at a chili, it's going to ruin my year. So I think smothered and covered is the place to be. I'm also interested in the similarities there are with a British breakfast, right? Mushrooms, grilled tomatoes, those are regular occurrences in a good full English. So they're obviously borrowing from UK culture there.
You would never get those as an individual side. We don't have that here.
Right, yeah. Okay. Well, that's interesting. But you would have, so you have that with also a side of sweet waffle.
So if the thing I would insist that you order when we're at the Waffle House is the All-Star Special, which comes with sort of a lot of things.
Okay.
It comes with your waffle, which you can get plain or you can get pecans on it. You can get chocolate chips on it. I usually go plain. Mm-hmm. You get hash browns or grits, but I would say get them both. Your choice of meat, which is either bacon or sausage or two different possibilities for ham. It comes with eggs, which is a scrambled egg mixed with cheese. Mm-hmm. And I will get usually the raisin toast, but obviously get whatever toast is to your liking.
I mean, that we're so close. Like if you order bacon and sausage and hash browns, you're 90% of the way there to a full English. Obviously the beans. Could you get a side of baked beans? What's the bean situation at Waffle House?
I don't think you can get a side of baked beans at Waffle House.
Sacrilege.
And they're different beans also. We make our beans different, which is what makes it hard. You can't really get a full English here because like the beans are different and the mushrooms are somehow different. And we don't have blood pudding.
I mean, blood pudding is, you're a boomer. If you're ordering black pudding, it's called in the UK. If you're ordering that, then you are over 60. Those are the people that have that particular delicacy. That's all but been eradicated from a modern.
Really?
Yes. The moment everybody found out what it was, they were like, "Oh, no." So
this is why the 60-somethings like me, because they know in my heart of hearts.
Yeah, but also raisin toast. You've got a lot of savory on. I mean, obviously the waffle is just like, a strange addition. It's like that would be like having a burger and fries and then also a chocolate gâteau. And somebody being like, this is a great delicacy meal, but not to eat separately, not to afterwards. You eat that all at the same time.
Yes, that's right. Welcome to America, Hutch. Let's just put it all on the plate.
The land of decadence. What are grits?
Grits are, it's sort of like oatmeal, but it's made with hominy, which is like a corn. It's like a ground corn, but it's basically the same as like if you're eating oatmeal, but it's corn instead of oat.
Corn is in sweet
I'm
corn.
pretty sure.
Or corn is in corn husky. It's
not sweet.
It sounds thoroughly unappetizing, I have to admit. I don't think anyone's described something to me and I've just gone, oh.
I'm trying to decide in my head. I just had grits when I was in New Orleans. I enjoy them. And they're pretty, you eat them a lot in the South, but like shrimp and grits is like a pretty famous thing. I'll get back to you on this.
I've never heard of hominy. Wild.
It's a corn thing.
It's a corn thing. Okay.
We talked about the Good Vibes Club.
Yeah, the Good Vibes Club.
And we talked about your dog.
And my dog, yes. Shame. I feel like there is definitely going to be a really good bit of content for us to make around a cultural exchange of breakfasts. That's the Breakfast Club. I mean, there goes my mind. The question that I wanted to ask, we might go back to DJ Mailbag for a quick one, but the question that somebody put in there is, each week we should also get a review of your best breakfast of the week. So what this week, what's been the top breakfast?
Oof.
Which is French for egg.
This week I've had the exact same breakfast the whole time.
7 days
I'm trying to be a bit more healthy. But every day I've had oatmeal with mixed berries mixed in.
Hot oatmeal? Or is it the prepared like overnight oats thing?
It is the kind that it's steel cut, but you don't leave it overnight. I make it on the stovetop.
Lovely. So
it's like 10 minutes worth of making.
I like it. I generally don't eat breakfast. And this morning, I decided to be a bit naughty and I had Nutella on toast.
Oh, see, that's the sweet and savory.
Well, it's a spread for toast.
We use it as a dessert filling.
What? You put it in desserts? I mean, you could do that. That's not the most outrageous thing that's ever been said, but it's in a jar, right?
Yeah.
So just where else would it go? Toast.
No, we don't put it on toast, but we have Nutella as like a nice chocolatey treat to enjoy like with dessert type stuff.
Yeah.
It's chocolate. You're putting chocolate on your toast and you're giving me a hard time for mixing sweet and savory.
I feel like it's like the off-brand versions are called chocolate spread.
Okay.
Write in with your answers, please. Help us here. We're going to start full on World War III over breakfast. Let's get one more from the mailbag.
Absolutely.
Las Vegas Lance! He asks, is there a difference in acceptable toppings for hamburgers in the UK versus the US? Very interesting premise of the question, because obviously there are acceptable and not unacceptable pizza toppings.
Mm-hmm.
Burger toppings, I would say that the UK is fairly conservative when it comes to burger toppings. Cheese, bacon, those are staples. A little fresh red onion, some ground white onion, or some lettuce. We're getting a bit more experimental with our sauces. There is a French onion burger that is being sold at a place in London, which comes with like a bowl of thick French onion soup for dipping. I've heard good things.
Oh.
But I think that's about as experimental as we get. And I know that Las Vegas Lance, there's some interesting stuff going on in America, because he then specifically asks Cincinnati chili or Texas chili. No idea what the difference is between either of those. And how you eat each, or how one should eat each. So how should one eat Cincinnati chili?
Well, yeah, I think as far as burger toppings, I think the core is about the same. If you just go get a regular hamburger, it's probably going to come with onions, lettuce, tomato, whatever you're going to put on there for a condiment. We then, of course, because America, our options are just infinite depending on where you are. Oh man, things get really regional, and so we'll have different chilies. We have different kinds of barbecue. If you get barbecue in the Carolinas versus Texas versus Midwest, they're different. The coleslaws are different in different places. We might need to have a different episode just exploring all the different regional varieties. Do you have the same thing there? We're in different. I mean, UK is a lot smaller, so you probably doesn't work like that.
It doesn't for burgers, because again, but burgers were really made famous by America, right? Like, obviously they're from Germany, but America ran with it. And now, like, you know, we had like the burger joint come around, and it was all very Americanized. You know, there's some obvious examples. There's a place in London which is an American burger house, and it's got lots of American bollocks in there, right?
Handguns.
None of those, please. But what we have is like there is a very regional divide over things like the chip shop, and in the north, they have other kind of strange things going on, like barn cakes. I don't quite understand those, but chip butties, which is just a soft bread roll with chips in it. The Scots go in for a lot of deep frying, so they'll take they'll do a Mars bar deep fried, as well as a fish and a battered sausage, gravy on your chips, curry sauce on your chips. What kind of salt and vinegar things you have? There's lots of different things, and then back into London, right? The kind of takeaway shops also then have like pickled things and jelly deals and kind of weird remnants of times gone by. Yeah, probably a bit more like weird than America, but you know, it harks back to kind of like these different subcultures in different places that ate specific things, food at a time where it became like a unifier. Now we have NFTs to tell people what club you belong.
It's so much easier.
There is the threat of us doing a live podcast at some point this year, and so having you over in the UK, I think, will be an exciting opportunity for us to talk about, you know, go and actually visit some of these things that we're talking about. We can get you a British pancake, we can get you a Wetherspoon's full English breakfast, we can get you a Greg's.
Is it wrong that I'm most excited about Greg's?
I don't know what the equivalent is in the States. I don't think. I mean, it's just like the cheapest sausage roll that you can get. Now, obviously, there are those done badly, but the Greg's ones are like, you know, it's like when somebody goes, "Oh, it's a dive bar, but it's really cool," right? Like, yeah, that's what it is, right? It's a dive restaurant, and it's horrible pork products, but they do it well. You know, a steak bake, perhaps. You can get those as well. They do a vegan sausage roll. It was all the rage. I don't know if it was a marketing stunt or what, but
no, thank you.
You want a full red-blooded American pork products sausage roll.
I sure do.
All right. Yeah. words for the lovely people?
No, this was fun. Thanks to everybody for tuning in. Mrs. Taco, if you watch this one, I appreciate it. Finally.
And also, if you're watching this, Mrs. Tucker, don't feel bad, because my wife hasn't watched any of these either, and she keeps saying, "Oh, I must get around to watch that," and it'll be next year. She won't, and then we'll have a running counter as part of the episode, being like, "She still hasn't watched. She still hasn't watched." But she's got real important, busy actual person things to do, rather than this Web3 nonsense that me and Taco engage in. So,
Go team.
appreciate you all.